Hello, good people. This is Lauren Antoinette, also known as La. I realized recently I hadn't really shared with you the A part of the La, because Antoinette is actually my middle name. So that's where La comes from for short. I'm so happy to be back with you. Today is a good day, and I am here to share with you my next podcast topic, and that is going to be Healing is a Marathon. So it's been, I would say, a few weeks since I have had the opportunity to podcast. The reason for that is actually because I took a trip last weekend, and the weekends are my podcasting time. So I decided to not do any work that weekend and take a step away. And it was amazing. So let me tell you about it. So I took a 3-day, 2-night trip to a getaway house. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or the business, but Getaway House, they have these tiny homes, and I am a tiny home fanatic, so I've always wanted to try one and just live in one and see what it was like. But so Getaway House, you go to this remote area. For me, it was up in the mountains, and you have very minimal to no cell service. There's no Wi-Fi, there's no TV. It is truly getting away, disconnecting, and just, getting back one with nature. At least that's what I wanted, was to get back one with nature, kind of sit in my thoughts, take some time for me. So I ventured out to this getaway house last weekend on a Sunday, and it was a great drive. With the pandemic, working remote, driving isn't a thing. So I had not had a time in the car as of late that I can remember where I was able to just jam out to my music, and it was about an hour and a half away from my house, almost 2 hours. And oh my gosh, I think I literally danced all the way up the mountain. I had so much fun. Had created a playlist of some of my favorite songs from, I'd say, even childhood, high school years. So it was very nostalgic, and I sang, I danced. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that no one was in the car with me, because I'm not the best singer, but hey, I love to have fun in the car. And so I got there, and I was like, wow, I'm really out in the middle of nowhere. There was about 20 to 30 of these tiny homes in this little pod. So at least there was other people out there with me. But yeah, I was like, okay, this is about to be a thing by myself. So the first night within all of this, it was almost addictive because I wanted to be outside so bad. With working remote, you are inside all day, and you kind of just stay. I almost feel like I'm a true homebody. So the first thing I did, because they had a fire pit there, was build a fire. It wasn't the best, but hey, I tried and I did it. And I just sat outside, I took in some fresh air, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I can't even lie though too, I was a little nervous because I'm there alone. I'm a female by myself in the middle of the woods, and if you don't know, I don't think there's a picture of, say, me physically on my podcast page anywhere, but I am a Black woman, and in horror stories they always say the Black person is first to go. So this whole vibe in the mountains horror story was very a good setting for that type of movie. Thank God, obviously, since I'm talking to you guys here, that did not happen. But yeah, so you have random things that go through your head, and since you are there by yourself, you have nothing else to do but think. So that first night and leading up to it, I actually had prepared quite a bit of things to cook. I wanted to make sure I had some yummy meals, some boozy drinks, and so the first night I made shrimp and grits, which was so delicious. It was yummy, filling, warm, and the perfect way to just start the night. The next day, I would say was very transformative. I had, I would say, a dance party in the cabin. I was listening to music the whole time. I found this new artist. Her name is, I think it's Savannah Christina. I hope I'm getting her name right. I'm terrible at remembering names. I was like, let me even look it up really quick since I am right here. Yep, Savannah Christina. She has an album called Self-Care. It was the perfect album to listen to, especially on my cabin trip, because I went to the cabin to give myself care, to give myself love, to cook meals that were delicious, to affirm things within my life, to celebrate me. I journaled like crazy. I also, on the second day, I did make another fire, which I have to say was a much bigger success, because I found they actually had instructions in the cabin on how to make an effective fire. Should have looked for those first. But also, while out at the fire, I had epiphanies. I had realizations about myself and like, oh, Lauren, you're just fine. You're healing. You're doing it. Look at you. You've come to this cabin by yourself. I was like, I am awesome sauce. I am everything. I am a woman. Hear me roar. Like, you can tell me nothing, especially that second day. And as I left the cabin, I got inspired to revamp actually another business that I have, Camille Antoinette Company. So that's to come. And I was like, oh, this was the best thing ever. Packed up my truck and went down the mountaintop. I feel like I had been, and if you are religious, you think of, when certain biblical, I would say characters, but people have gone, say, to the mountaintop. They get this clear understanding. They come down with the word. I mean, that was what I was like, yep, I have come down here. I am healed. Clearly, I am just fine. And then I get home. I, unpack the car, and then bam, I get triggered. Ooh, okay, so I got triggered in a major way, and it kind of sucked because I had left the mountain so positive, and then bam. As I mentioned in my last podcast of talking about single and healing, and I am recently, it's been a couple months, but recently single. And so going through that healing process, and I am a person who, I'm doing the work, and I have to see that instant turnaround, that instant improvement. And that is, I'm learning, I would say the hard way, but the slow way, that especially when it comes to, say, matters of the heart and matters of my healing, it's going to take me so much longer. And that's why I say it's a marathon. So I got back from my cabin trip. I, get on my phone because I haven't been on social media for days, so I have no idea. And then the first thing that pops up is I want to say it's a picture or a comment that my ex had. Now, I know the first thing you're thinking is like, well, why the heck are you still following him? I don't know. Leave me alone. This is a no judgment zone. But yeah, I was still following him at the time, hint, hint, so some things have changed. But it just, it's like all the emotion, the pain, the heartbreak just came rushing back in. And I was low-key offended because I'm like, I just took this self-care trip. And sorry if you just heard my stomach because it is crazy annoying this morning. I have not had breakfast because I was so excited to podcast that I just jumped into it. Anywho, very random side note. That is how my brain works sometimes. Anywho. But yes, I was very, very annoyed that all of this lovely self-care work, all of my dance party life, my building an awesome fire, eating s'mores outside, taking bomb selfies, and having this like I'm healing, turn up moment to come back and be triggered. I was so mad. And so later that night, I actually talked to a friend. And so I was telling her, I was like, hey, I think it was later that night. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm telling you about the cabin. And then I was like, oh, now I'm feeling this and I'm feeling so emotional and it sucks. And I am just outdone. And so she told me, because I wrote it down verbatim, because I actually have it as a post-it note on my computer. And it says, you can't fix yourself with one night in the mountains. For the record, first, I was in the mountains for 2 nights. But that comment it hit. Because I realized in that I was trying to sprint my healing. I was like, yep, I'm a person who's very organized. And so in my mind, I was hitting, say, the check boxes. Okay, great. First things first, I have gotten now a therapist, check. So healing journey on par. Boom, I have invested in a Peloton, check. So physical, done. Working out, about to get this, body snatched up. Okay. 3, taking my self-care trip. Bam. So I looked at when I came down from the mountain that nothing could ever trigger me again, that I had found, say, the magic sauce for excellence in a healing journey. And yeah, no, that is not how it works. And then on top of it, my friend added extra detail to her comment, and she started Googling some things. And so it was like, you need at least 3 months, I believe. She said that you're ready to date, and I think I'm personally at around 2. I don't know if I'll even be ready at 3, to be honest. But further in the research that she was kind of just quickly looking through, I think it was on an Oprah site. Thank you, Oprah, for the advice. It was like you need, I think, almost like a year, really, because you want to get through all of the seasons. And I cannot even, I didn't say it's not even explained, but I can't even, I'm at a loss for words, but I definitely, before the cabin trip, had so many triggers because of the holiday season. And it's like, last year we were doing this. Now this year, oh great, you're alone. But it's not bad that I'm alone, because it's so many things that I'm learning about myself in this healing journey that have been awesome. But it's still, it still hurts. And I am learning that I have to feel it. I don't want to, but it is a must. I have to feel and get through this journey. Okay, so in rounding out this, I'd say, discussion about the healing journey and really feeling it, or, yes, this marathon that I am on. I have talked, a little bit here about going to therapy, that I am super fortunate. I have to say that off the first jump, I found an amazing Black woman therapist who gets it, who gets me, and who is just helping transform my life and understanding myself. One thing that I have been working on, or something that she's helped me see, is for better wording there, is my challenges with abandonment. And so I don't do good when people just abandon me. So kind of with the trigger of the breakup, that it was so unexpected, it triggers in me the feeling of abandonment. And we have talked a ton about family members and people who have left, I would say, unexpectedly. And there's elements of me that have never mourned certain family members who have passed. I maybe have a day that, I think about, when my grandmother passed. And I actually found out after the fact, because I was in finals for school, so my mom didn't tell me right away. So she told me after the fact, and it was so shocking to me. But I don't also like to feel emotion. I don't know a ton of us that do. And so I vividly remember at her funeral, I cried the whole time. I couldn't believe it that she was gone. But after the funeral ended, I don't want to say like it didn't exist. I walked out of there and put the emotion in a box. I was like, okay, you cried it out here, you're done. Like, you don't have to cry it out anymore. And that has been how I have managed most of my life when it comes to sad emotion. I have always been, I would say, a little bit fearful of going to alcohol, because I found out, later in my life, that, my grandfather actually was an alcoholic. I guess that's, I'm assuming alcoholic, or, I'll make it nice and just say he liked to drink. But his drinking really came from his line of work. He was a Pullman porter, and if you don't know, who those men are, they were, I would say, pivotal in the African American community, especially of entering the rail industry. It was the first major time that African Americans had very, I would say, good paying jobs, but you were subjected to a ton of racism. And my grandfather, he was born in, I want to say 1895 or something like that. So to give some context on the era that he was doing this, I mean, he did it for 44 years. And I can only imagine, we know where the world is today. Think about, as a Black man working in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and that jazz. So, yeah, But so it's interesting and why I bring up my grandfather and in this thoughts of abandonment. And sorry, just talking a little bit slower through this because it's a little heavy for me. And at this point of the marathon where, if say I'm really meeting the pavement, I'm starting on this journey and starting to find my first, aha, enlightenment moment. So yesterday morning, actually, I was talking to my mom, and she had mentioned about a family member who had passed. I didn't know them that well, so, I'm like, oh, that's sorry. My condolences to the family. And she went on a tangent, and I'm like, okay, all right, she wants to talk, cool. I always learn something when I talk to my mom, so I love it. But so she's like, oh, I hate, when family passes during the holiday. And I was like, oh, well, it's because, people leave people behind, and so she's like, yeah, it's hard because then every Christmas you think about people passing around that time and they're not there. She's like, if they pass, say, on a random day in July, you remember, but, the holidays is something that you share with family, so it can be even more magnified because you remember, like, oh, they're not here with me during this Christmas season. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so she went on and said, hey, yeah, your uncle, he passed about a week before Christmas, and then your grandfather, he passed on December 22nd. And I kind of was taken aback because I never knew the actual date that he had passed. So I was like, really? I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, like that must have been really hard for you during Christmas. Like I had no idea that Grandpa passed so closely. So you have to think about this literally every Christmas holiday. And she's like, yeah, the first 5 years were the hardest. But, you make it and you work through it. And so she talked to me about some other, major things that happened around that holiday season for her when I was about 2. And I was like, wow, okay. And she went on to talk to me a little bit about my grandfather and how he passed. I will not share within this, I would say, forum. I would say it's just not 100% ready to talk about it all the way. But when she talked about how he passed, nonetheless, I found out that I was there in the discovery of finding that he passed. I don't think I ever quite clicked that nugget until yesterday. And after my mom and I talked, I went upstairs, and in true transparency, I started crying, like crocodile tears, like big tears. And all these emotions hit, and I realized that my grandfather was my first abandonment. At least that's what I'm saying. I still need to talk to my therapist about this. But he was the first person that I loved, I would say, in my opinion, probably besides my parents, as much that he left in a surprising way. I never, I was 2 when he passed away, so I never mourned him. And so I went upstairs and I just cried because I was like, I have always felt so connected to my grandfather, and I'm even tearing up right now thinking about it. And I have, actually, I work in the real industry now, and I've always loved working in the industry because I have felt so close to him and wanted to feel, wanted to be like the success story of like, Grandpa, you went through hell for 40 plus years, but don't worry, your granddaughter got you. Like, she's going to change the world in Rail. She's going to do it. She's going to change the world. And, sorry. So I don't know, like, as I say in the title of this is a marathon. And this has been such a big epiphany for me. And my therapist even talked about, she's like, yeah, like your recent situations brought you to me, but you got 33 years of stuff that we got to work through. And so in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, that's probably like, and we'll get back to maybe college. We'll get back to, when I first graduated, all that kind of stuff. Like, but I never anticipated connecting something all the way back till I am 2. And I constantly say this within this podcast to friends. I'm going to really say it more even in my social media, but please, I cannot express to people, please do the work. Like, we have so much that we go through on a daily basis that we just, we put it in a box and shove it away. I have done this literally my whole life. And this is the first time that I am saying, no, I'm going to feel the emotion. What is this emotion telling me? And how I'm going to grow from it. Because I want to be fully healed. I want to be able to know me, love me wholly, and to know, when I'm not all right, and to be okay with it and sit in it. And so from this last week of being triggered after coming from the cabin to today of the trigger and the, I'd say, enlightenment of abandonment feelings, I have to sit in this. I have to sit in it and acknowledge it and understand it, because everything that happens in our life happens for a reason that makes us who we uniquely are. So I just, please take some time to learn yourself and learn who you are and heal. Woo. Okay. Yeah, I just had to pause literally and take some deep breaths because I'm feeling it. I am feeling the emotion. I don't really know if it's the best word to say pain, but I'm feeling it. But the biggest thing, and kind of as I close this out, is that there is always hope in healing. Healing, it's going to have its moments of heaviness. It's going to have its moments of tears. It's going to have its moments of anger. But being released from that is the best thing ever. And sorry to go on another tangent. I was talking to a friend about this meme I saw. And it was this guy, and he was holding, I guess you could say like packages of things, just holding on to, and all this weight. And I can't remember if it was God or if it was somebody religious, or, I don't remember. But I want to say in this meme, it was like a visual of like God trying to give this person something. And so I guess it's a cartoon. The guy gave, say, 3 of the packages back to God and said, okay, great, here, I can take on some more. I can take on some new because I've healed and I've let those 3 things go. And so God gave, 3 new small packages. It was like, here you go. This is great. And God was like, okay, can you let go of this other 7? And I was like, nope, I'm not going to let go of the other 7 because I did a little bit of healing and I got 3 new packages and I'm good. But from the cartoon, I don't think I can't remember if the person ever gave away the other 7 or not, but in the cartoon, you saw an image of God having this huge package, but he needed you to let go of the other 7 and heal from those 7 so that he could open up this new door, give you this new gift, this new package. And I just connected with that. I guess a cartoon now, but it was like, yes, I have to let go of certain things. I have to heal through certain things. I have to heal through traumas, in my life. I have to celebrate and love myself. I have to be not afraid to shine my light. And, so these are the things that give me hope. These are the things that make me happy, that keep me smiling, that even within the heaviness of it all, it is this season, this marathon, this journey that I'm on for however long it's going to take me. I'm completely fine with it because it is necessary for me to heal so that I can get to be the person that I want to be in this lifetime and fulfill my purpose. Point blank, period. So please, if nonetheless, start a healing journey. And we still have some time, I say, in some capacity of being inside with COVID, as the vaccines come out over time and, you decide what you want to do there. But let's heal. I am so focused on the woman that I'm becoming, and I'm so excited about her that all this pain and all the, ripping up bandages and just feeling like I'm being jabbed literally in the heart, completely fine. Because on the other side of it, of the rainbow, we'll say, is that pot of gold of learning me, loving me, and being in a place of pure joy. So that's all for today, good people. Until next time. All right, good people, that is all for today. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the show so that you can catch every new episode. Make sure to leave a review so I can continue to bring you fresh content. And of course, do not forget to follow me on my social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram at _SpeakUpLaw. And to check out my website, www.speakuplaw.com, for other great info and services. Until next time, good people. Hi everyone, my name is Lauren, aka Law, and I am the host of Speak Up Law. My goal in life is to amplify voices, connect people, and spread joy. So the way that I am doing that is very, very soon. I have a show coming out called Speak Up Law. Speak Up Law is a show that I crafted and created that showcases Black excellence, HBCU life, and lets you see all these amazing different professions of amazing Black people doing things in their lanes and absolutely crushing it. The show is filmed on HBCU campuses and other local businesses around the Nashville and Atlanta area, where you can meet and see people in their real time and see all the different professions that they do. When I tell you that I called in some amazing folks, I got entrepreneurs in the whiskey industry, I got art gallery owners, doctors, dentists, the list goes on. And even you get to hear from one of my amazing friends who is part of the Fisk Jubilee Singers. If you don't know who they are, look them up. They just won a Grammy. So until then, you can learn more about my show by going to Facebook or Instagram at _SpeakUpLaw or my website, www.speakuplaw.com. Until next time, love y'all. We'll chat later.